When my husband was born, the doctor looked at his legs and his feet and said, "This baby will never walk." But my father-in-law looked at this beautiful baby boy and was given a blessing that he would walk. And then my mother-in-law, my father-in-law, they went to the work of getting their baby boy to walk, because his feet, his legs, he had something called club feet, and his leg would twist and his feet were completely backwards from where it should be. And so they went to work. They started surgery after surgery after surgery on their little boy. It was weekly visits, 250 miles round trip from Delta, Utah to Salt Lake City to get new casts put on his legs. It was special shoes. It was special braces. It was, well, just a lot of work. But my husband, Ken, oh, he walked. He ran, he biked, he hiked, he danced, he swam. He did it all with his signature limp. And it didn't bother him at all. Until, well, do you remember being 13? Your body starts betraying you in all kinds of ways. You know, you go to bed with perfect child skin and you wake up with, well, constellations on your face. You know, you would love to be tall and strong, and actually you stay shrimpy and 78 pounds. You, like, some people get so tall that, well, they look like camels because their knees and their elbows are huge, but the rest of their legs are so skinny, you know? It's just an age of, well, difficulty. And at his school, like every school, there was one kid whose job was to make other people feel small. Like every school has one, you know? And he was really good at his job. And he made a habit of teasing and mocking my husband's his gait. And because it was the early 80s and it was an unfortunate choice on his part, but he permed his hair, it didn't go over well. You know what I mean? And one day, well, the teasing was starting to affect him. It was making his stomach hurt, he was developing ulcers, and it was a bit of a problem. But one day the kid, it was lunchtime, and he was doing his job really well. And my husband noticed something going on over here. And he can't even remember what it was, but he said something about that. And the rest of the kids around that boy started laughing. And the tides turned and his world shifted on its axis. Because he realized that that kid who made everybody look small no longer had the power when he could get everybody laughing. And so my husband started developing his sense of humor. And he was good at it. See, like, by the time I met him at college, he always could make people feel comfortable because he could ask questions and he could get them laughing. And with our family, he really helps keep things on an even keel. Like, when my daughter was 4 years old, this is a story for another time, but when my daughter was 4 years old, my youngest, he convinced her that she wanted to get coal for Christmas because coal was simply baby diamonds. And if you just put the coal underneath your pillow and put pressure on it, you will get diamonds. So my 4-year-old is asking Santa for coal for Christmas. Another thing, when my boys were not getting up as teenagers like they should for school, he would walk down into their basement bedroom and he would get out his harmonica and he'd go, na 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 na, I've got the puberty blues, na 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 na, from my head to my shoes, na 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 na, your feet are so stinky, and it would just go on, you know. And my kids would laugh. And to avoid the serenade in the morning, they would get up. So my husband uses humor. Well, about 6 years ago, my family was on vacation. We were up at Mount St. Helens, and we were hiking on this great big pile of white ash. It kind of looks like the moon. It's this, in the green lush of Oregon, or Washington, thank you. That white ash really does look like the moon. And my teenagers and my kids, they were way ahead of us. And my husband was behind me, and he had his hand on my shoulder. And he was putting quite a bit of pressure. And as we hiked, I heard something for the first time. It was a grinding with every step. And I couldn't figure out quite what it even was. And then my husband said something. He said, my ankle's really hurting today. And I knew that our world's axis had shifted and the tides had turned and something was going to have to be done about his ankle. And so we started trying things. We tried to reduce inflammation. So our whole family went on a diet simply because I'm not cooking more than 1 meal in it. I'm just not doing that. But it was a diet of no flour, no wheat, no sugar, nothing that you would want to eat. Basically, let's remove all joy from your food, and that's what you're left with. But it was supposed to help reduce inflammation, and inflammation hurt his ankle. So we did it. Anyway, we also had experimental injections of ozone. If you've ever had a cortisone shot, kind of like that, but it's ozone, and ozone is supposedly supposed to help your body repair itself as the goo works its magic in the joint. He also did strange things like he got a bucket full of ice water and another bucket full as hot of water as he could, and he would put his foot in the hot water for a minute to directly put it into the next, because it would reduce the swelling. But that grinding with every step didn't go away. So we finally got into the specialist. And he said we had 2 options. We could either have his foot frozen, so basically it would just be like a Ken Barbie's friends, like that foot. That's what it would do. That's it. Or we could amputate. And my husband said, well, if I amputate, can I please get the foot? I will put it in an old pickle jar with formaldehyde, and I will hide it underneath my bed to scare my future grandkids. Like I said, my husband, his sense of humor is kind of different. And the doctor just said, no. We can't do that. And we walked out laughing at the horror of the doctor's face. But we decided to get his foot amputated. And, well, most 47-year-old men are not getting their foot amputated. That's not normal. And the idea of all of our friends who love us going up, oh, what's wrong? Are you okay? Tell me. Like, that would not work well for Ken. So, we decided to have the FootLoose Party. We made up an invitation, and on the invitation it said the Ken Parkinson FootLoose Party. There was a picture of his foot on it, And on the back of the invitation, there were the top 10 reasons why cutting off your foot isn't such a bad idea. And we sent out this invitation with these things, like some of the top 10 reasons is weight loss without dieting, half-price pedicures, and since his left foot was being amputated, he is always going to step forward with his right foot forward. And we invited all of our neighborhood. We invited all of his work colleagues. We invited all of our family and our friends to the FootLoose Party. And most people were completely astonished that this was happening. And they came to our house, and they knew that they could talk, and Ken was being himself. He was letting people feel comfortable with what happened. And because of an invitation like that, they knew he had a sense of humor about it. And so people brought gifts, like one brought a 12-inch ruler, a brand new foot. Yeah. And they were able, it was a night that we were able to laugh and we were able to joke. And let me tell you, it made our world shift on its axis and the tides turned and it was a new beginning for him and we were going to be okay. And now, 6 years later, he hikes, he bikes, he dances, he swims, and it is beautiful. Thank you.